So welcome everyone and thank you for joining me today. We'll be taking a look at Yealink's products for 2022. Where will the roadmap take you? In today's agenda, I'll have a quick look at Yealink's historic growth up to 2021, followed by Yealink's product strategy for 2022. So here you're going to get to see the full portfolio as a whole, including current products and what is due this year. And then I'll take you through in more detail on the newest additions to the range, such as the T4U, but we'll also talk in more detail about the products due to land this year. Finally, we do have an offer running at the moment, which I am delighted to tell you more about. So we'll go through that, followed by a Q&A session at the end. My name is Anna Maria and I'm the Sales Manager at ProView Communications. I've been here for over 8 years now and I work very closely with Yealink to help develop their product strategy and, as of late, keeping one step ahead on ongoing stock issues being faced. Now, there have been delays generally in the market due to component shortages, so if stock is something you'd like to know more about, do feel free to contact me after the webinar. As mentioned before, there will be plenty of time for questions at the end, but do feel free to stop me as we go along. You should find a speech bubble on the right-hand side where you can type in your question and I'll be happy to stop and answer. If there are any questions that I'm unsure about or we don't have the answer to, then not to worry, I will be able to get your details and I can come back to you separately after the webinar. So, taking a quick look at Yealink's figures, I think they speak for themselves really, in that their growth has been very strong, especially as of 2014. They're growing almost 40% and are now in over 140 countries across the globe. I don't know if anyone here remembers when Yealink first entered the market. There was a lot of disruption and not everyone was convinced, but they've really taken the market by storm and proven themselves over and over that they are innovative with their products and their design and one step ahead with the latest technology. As for their market share in numbers, they are currently #1 across SIP devices and have been since 2017. So far since 2021, their year-on-year growth has been 50%, and their products are well designed to be compatible with most hosted platforms. They are currently taking almost 30% of the market share, followed not so closely now by Poly, with all other brands taking up the rest. And these numbers are provided by Frost & Sullivan's 2019 global figures. Moving on to Yealink's product strategy for 2022, where you will see the current full range and what is to come in this year. So here is the full portfolio at a glance. Within the audio solutions here on the left, you've got desk phones, single cell and multi-cell cordless DECT phones, and a variety of conference phones. If we look on the right, there is also a dedicated Microsoft Teams solution in the form of desk phones for those still looking for that traditional phone use, plus a wide range of fully integrated video conferencing solutions to suit your various needs. The video conferencing isn't just for Teams though, so if we take a look at the bottom left, you've also got a wide range of video conferencing to run over SIP, plus on the right here, a range of bring your own device solutions where you can simply add the wraparound products needed, like a speaker or a camera or headset, and run the call your own way, for example, on a laptop or a computer. And the idea behind the vast portfolio is to become a one-stop VoIP solution. If we take a look here, we've got an example on how a variety of the products can be used to kit out an office with different needs. So we've got a range here to the left of lower end, cost effective and good value for money phones that can be used in the more common areas, with a range of suitable products for front end, desk or reception. So these are going to be the ones with larger screens, plenty of BLF keys already available on the phone itself, but with the option to add more if needed. We've then also got two ranges suited for executive use, so those using on a daily basis, requiring high quality audio, plus we've got some video phone options. So with the video phone options, you've got two to choose from. One is designed for single person only, but the other, whilst it is for a single person, it can also be used for a huddle room solution. So not only does it have a built-in sound bar, so you've actually got a sound bar on the phone for a speaker and microphone, but it's also got a HDMI port, so you can connect it to a TV. Now, I won't be covering that model in this webinar today, but I do think it is one that not that many people are aware of and what it can do. So if that video phone is something you would like to know more about, do feel free to pop a message in the box and I can contact you after. Finally, we've also got the audio conferencing devices for meeting rooms, and there'll be more than one option depending on your needs, and I'll be going through those later on. So that's hopefully given you a bit of an insight to the desktop solutions in that last slide, but we'll take a look at all of that in more detail now so that hopefully what I've just described will make a bit more sense. So here we have the full desktop range. I do have some slides to go through in more detail, so I'm not going to break it down too much here, but just as an introduction, starting from the top, we have their highest feature range, including video phone options and the newest T58W series that is starting to come out this year. Followed by that, we've got the T4U range, which at the end of last year came in to replace the ever popular T4S range. Plus then the entry-level T3 range, which not only replaces the T2 range, but has been redesigned entirely to include even better value for money phones. So the T58 series that I mentioned is here to replace the T58A, which some of you may already be familiar with. So this was Yealink's original video phone model with the large touchscreen, and it was flexible in the sense that the camera isn't fixed, so you can get it with or without the USB camera or buy that separately and add it on later. The replacement here is pretty much like for like in the T58W in the sense that it looks very similar and you again can get it with or without camera. However, they have introduced a Pro version, which is similar, except it has a cordless receiver. So taking a look at the 58W features in more detail. So as I just mentioned, the Pro version comes with the cordless receiver. So that's actually a Bluetooth one. So it means you can carry the receiver with you if needed. So maybe you need to walk away from your desk to grab something whilst you're on the phone, or you need to pop away before a call might come in. It will give you the freedom to do that. So this is on the latest Bluetooth version with about a 10 meters range. Within the receiver itself, we've got high definition speakers and microphone for the best audio quality. And then in terms of what you can do with the receiver whilst you're away from the phone, it has a button on it to answer and end the call. You've got a volume button, so to turn it up or down, and a mute button as well. So in a way, it's like a headset, but in the shape of a cordless handset. So if you are someone that prefers the feel of a traditional handset rather than using headsets, but you also don't like the wires, I know the curly cords can often get in the way, then this could be a really good fit for you. There is decent talk time on this, so you've got 17 hours, so you could make it throughout the day without it being charged, although I imagine most of the time when you're not using it, you'll probably just pop it back on the phone. And then both models, the T58W and the Pro version, are on the latest Android version 9.0. They've got new user interface compared to the T58A and a 5 megapixel camera for good video. You've also, on these new phones, got a Hall switch instead of the older compression spring. So that's the bit where you put the receiver down. Now, it may seem like a really small upgrade, but not only will it make it quieter when you are picking up and placing down the receiver, but that type of mechanism should also last longer. I know the springs sometimes after a good few years of use can get worn out and it just doesn't work anymore and it won't answer the call properly. Onto the T4U series, which replaced the T4S series. So we've pretty much got a similar like-for-like range in terms of physical features at a glance, but they have all had an upgrade. So if we just ignore the expansion module on the left for now and start with the T42U, which replaces the T41S like-for-like, so looks pretty much the same. The T43U replaces the T42S, but what we've got here is an extra line of BLF keys and a slightly larger screen, so you are actually getting a better phone here than the T42. The T46U replaces the T46S, pretty much like for like, and again, the T48U replaces the T48S. So pretty self-explanatory in terms of what replaces what, and apart from the extra physical changes on the T43U, as a whole, all the devices have been upgraded mostly internally. So just to go through that, they all have improved audio quality, so better audio quality than before with the HD Optima voice. They've also now got 2 USB ports instead of 1, so giving you a bit more flexibility. So for example, if you needed an expansion module but also wanted a Bluetooth headset or a wired USB headset, then this will allow you to connect both. They all have the acoustic shield as well. So this was something that first originated in the T5 series, but there's now been added to the new T4U series as well. For those who aren't aware, this is a feature where you can turn on or off. So you can turn it on or off via configuration, but it will create an actual shield around the receiver so that it can pick up the person talking, but not any other background noise outside of the selected distance. So you've got 3 diameter settings that you can choose from. I think the shortest one is 20 centimeters, and then you've got 2 others. But for example, in a standard office, you're probably not going to use it, but if the phone was being put in a bank or somewhere where people are going to be repeating sensitive information, then you're probably not going to want it to be heard coming through others' call through another phone, which can happen a lot in busy environments. I know in our office, I am allowed one, so it is often commented on that I can be heard through other people's calls. So I was working in a bank and they did put me on a phone, they would probably want to change that setting. Of course, if you wanted just for your office in general to put that in place anyway, just to improve the call quality for people calling in, that is something you can adjust yourself. They all support Opus codec as well. So in areas where the internet might be poor or you may have low bandwidth, then this should pick up on that to compress the data packets, making them smaller. So if the person on the phone is experiencing poor internet, then it shouldn't affect the call quality for the person they are speaking to, which without this would generally happen. It would go in and out. So this should improve that. They are also all fitted with gigabit Ethernet ports, whereas previously in the T4S series you had some in the range without, so just on the standard 10100. And going back to the expansion module now, the EXP43, the module itself is smart in the sense that it will actually plug into all of these phones and then display in either black and white or color, depending on which phone it is. So historically, with the previous S range, their expansion module would only work with the T46 and T48, which meant if you had a lower end phone and decided you needed to add more BLF keys, you couldn't just add the expansion module, you had to replace the whole phone. So it's had a really extensive revamp, especially internally, but not much of a difference in terms of price. As for the strategy of where to take the T4S replacement, so obviously you've got a choice now. So you've got the option of the T5 range or the T4U range, as we've just seen. So at first, the T5 range came in as the replacement for the T4S, but then the T4U followed quite a long time after. So it did cause some confusion in the market and among our customer base, which was totally understandable. But ultimately, you've now got 2 different ranges to choose from when replacing the T4S. So you've got the T4U, which follows the same classic design, or you can go for the T5 range, which has got a more flexible design, like with the adjustable screen. It's more feature rich, so you've generally got built-in Bluetooth and Wi-Fi, And this one does come at a bit of a price increase, but it's not huge compared to the T4U. So that's why we see it as pretty much a choice. And what we're seeing as well with our customers, many of our ITSPs are choosing to stick with just one or the other. Here is the upgrade strategy, so how that might look for the T4S range. So for the T41S, we'd recommend that you either go with the T33G or the T42U. For the T42S, you've got the T43U, which is its direct replacement, or the T53, which is an upgrade from the higher end range. The T46, similarly, you could go for the T46U as its direct replacement or upgrade that to the T54W. And same again with the T48S, you could go for the T48U or upgrade it to the T57W. Here is the T3 series, which we touched on earlier. So these came in to replace the T2 series. So they've upgraded the exterior. They've made it with higher quality plastic to give it a more executive look. So the old ones did look a little bit cheap. They've also made it from a more scratch resistant material. So you should find they last longer and look nicer for longer. And they've also introduced the color screen option at a lower end price. So before in the T2 series, if you needed a color screen option, it was on a much bigger phone, so coming at quite a bit of a price increase, whereas this is a lot more cost effective. As for internal changes, they have upgraded the processors, so it will have a faster boot time if they need to reboot and general faster response time when they're pressing the buttons. There is the color screen, like I just mentioned. They also support now the Yealink EHS35 wireless headset adapter. So you could use any of the phones in this range with Yealink's wireless headset. So historically, the lower end phones from Yealink did not support EHS. Obviously, they didn't have their own headset either, so you'd have to go for a third party one. But if you wanted to, you'd have to combine that with a handset lifter. So for most people, that was far from ideal. They're quite clunky, they get in the way, they're also a bit loud, whereas now you can connect with the EHS adapter, Yealink's wireless headsets. All of these phones as well can be accessed via Yealink's device management platform, and they've got smart noise filtering to give you a superior audio quality for the person on the other end. So that's basically where it will pick up noise and then work out what is the person speaking and what isn't, and filter that out. Moving on to audio, sorry, I don't know if you could see that. I'll just close that message popping up there. Moving on to the audio conferencing, we have some new devices coming in as we speak. So this is actually a really good time to talk about it, because during the pandemic, obviously no one has been buying conference phones as offices have been shut. So whether people needed them or not, or just needed to upgrade, it was not a conversation that we were having. But now that people are back, offices are reopened, some are keeping things as they are, some are rearranging or upgrading, so we are getting more inquiries for this type of thing again. The two latest devices that are only just available is the CP965, which replaces the CP960, and then the CP925 replacing the CP920. There will also be a third model to replace the existing CP930W, and that is the wireless DECT conference unit, but that is yet to come. We don't have any details on it, but we will be talking that again at another date. For now, I can show you in more detail the 925 and 965. So in terms of upgrades on these compared to the previous models, the 960 and 920, in general, they've got a stylish new design, which you can see there. Both of them now come with a full touchscreen instead of just the CP960, and then they both as a whole have improved the audio quality. Regarding the difference between the two, each other, so the CP925, the screen, you've got a 5-inch screen there, and then on the 965, the screen and the unit itself is all a little bit bigger. Then the user interface on both are very highly intuitive, and they won't differ between the two. The CP965 is the one that's going to support the wireless DECT microphones, which replicates what the CP960 had. So that's going to be the one that's going to be more suited to your medium to large rooms. And then on the wireless mics itself, they've built in better microphones for improved audio quality. And then finally, on the unit itself, on the CP965, this one is actually fitted with 13 microphones in total, which is almost double to what you've got on the 925. So you've got 12 in there for voice pickup and 1 in there for noise cancelling. So it will allow you to pick up a lot of people around the room, even without the extended microphones. And then as with the other new devices, these are also on the latest Android 9.0 with a newly designed user interface. That's it for the conferencing devices. We'll take a look at the DECT phones now. Here's an overview of the cordless DECT handsets as a range. So you've got at the top half here your multi-cell DECT base stations compatible with all of the handsets that they've got. Then at the bottom, we've got a range of single cell bundles, and you've got currently 2 single cell base stations to choose from and 4 handsets to choose from. And I'll go into more detail on this shortly. The one that's in there, the W60P, is still currently available, but that one is planning to be discontinued. So eventually it will all move on to the 70B, as I'm about to show you. So just before we do that, in its entirety, Yealink's DECT range is actually quite extensive. So it doesn't just include the cordless handsets, but you've also got the ability to connect cordlessly via DECT to some desk phones, where you can use the phone as a base station. They have the DECT conferencing unit, which currently still exists, and we're waiting for the new replacement, plus all of the latest wireless DECT headsets, which I will be going in more detail on in a bit. So this is the plan for the single cell DECT range and what it's going to look like once the 60p is gone. So the 70B is essentially an upgrade from the 60B in terms of features on the base station, and they are planning to bring in some new bundles to include this. So currently what we've already got is the 73p, so that one's brand new and again came in towards the end of last year. This one is available as a bundle or as the individual item, so you've got the new base station and the new handset, but they will also be bringing out bundles to include the existing W56H handset, which will be sort of your more mid-range one, and also the 59R, which is the ruggedized one. So at the moment, those are only available as individual items. Taking a closer look at the newest handset, the 73H. So compared to the 56H, it's got a new design, which certainly, from my opinion, looks much smarter and is higher quality. They've improved the audio quality on there as well, and you've got higher power with longer battery life. It's actually almost twice as long, the battery life on this one. As for the base station itself, they've added some internal changes, such as improving the web management usability. They've added some more advanced features, but more importantly, they've increased the number of handsets and calls that it can support. To give you a closer look on those improvements made, they've increased the startup and upgrade speed, so you should find that is now quicker. The chip performance internally has been improved, and it has been given better sound quality for your calls, and it can also now support 2 calls per handset, which means if you've got someone on hold, then it's not going to take that away as one of the other simultaneous calls on the full solution. They've also designed it to be scalable for updates in the future. So if they did want to add other advanced features, they've designed it in a way that they should be able to do this without having to change the base station itself. On the handset side of things, you can have up to 10 on this base station. So compared to the 60p, you can currently only have 8, and 20 simultaneous calls in total as 2 per handset. You can have 6 repeaters on this one, which is what we do currently have with the 60B, so no change there, but it is more than what you've got on the 52P, which is the one that has just been discontinued. They've also redesigned the web interface, making setup and configuration easier on the eyes and easier to manage. So there's just an example there of what it used to look like and what it does now. To show you what the DECT base range is going to look like once all the old ones are gone. So what I've got here is the DECT base stations in its entirety once we take away all the discontinued models. So at the bottom here, we've got the 70B that I've just shown you. That is going to be the new single cell option. So it's just going to be that one after a certain point, followed by the W80 multi-cell. And this is the one designed for your small to medium sites, so supporting up to 30 base stations and up to 100 handsets. You'll then have one designed for larger solutions, so for supporting 60 base stations and 250 handsets. And these are the base stations which you may have seen are the ones that come with the external antenna, so for better signal and coverage. They have also, or are about to bring out, what they are calling the virtual integrator machine. So this is something that you'll be able to configure to allow you to use more than one set of the W90 supporting the 60 bases and 250 handsets. So it's essentially going to allow you to have up to 10 sets of those using that virtual integrator machine. So for extra large sites, it will, as a total, give you up to 600 base stations and 2,500 handsets. So here's a comparison just on that multi-cell side. So with a W80 and W90 side by side on the features. The main difference obviously is going to be the handsets and base stations that you can have in the entire solution, as well as a couple of features internally. And then we've got here added the W90, what your cores and bases look like as it is, or what it will look like once you've configured it with the virtual integrator machine. So it's a really useful slide here. If anyone would like a copy of that, feel free to reach out because we can always send you. It's a good for go-to if you're talking to customers. Now, getting onto the last section of the webinar, I will go through the latest headsets. This here is an overview of their entire headset range. So we've got to the left, firstly, 2 types of wired USB headsets. We've got an entry level and a mid-range option. They are also planning to bring out a higher end option later this year. So you'll actually have 3 within that range. And all of their USB headsets are not just USB, but they also come with a 3.5mm jack, which is what you'll most commonly find in your mobile phones and some laptops as well, which is really useful in today's environment. Next, on the next wired headsets, very similarly, again, we've got entry level and mid-range option, and this is for the wired RJ9 headsets. So these are the ones that are designed to plug directly into Yealink phones and, of course, any other compatible RJ9 headset port. Next is the DECT wireless headset range. So this is the newest edition that came in just towards the end of last year and has been really popular since. And then coming soon to the right is the Bluetooth range, which some of you may have seen launched recently at Yealink's global event, but I am going to be going through that as well in the next few slides. For those who aren't yet familiar with the wireless DECT range, you've got 2 types. So there's the standard DECT model with dual connectivity, and then you can choose between your headset style. So you either go for a fixed headband, be that single or dual, or you can go for a single ear convertible earpiece. So that's where you can switch between it being in the ear, on the head via a headband or neckband. There is a 4th convertible as well. I can't off the top of my head remember what that is, but it gives you lots of options if you're wanting to be flexible. The second model is more of a UC workstation. So this one has got triple connectivity for the desk phone, soft phone via USB, and your mobile phone by Bluetooth. and it comes with this inbuilt screen that you can see there for soft phone use. So you could launch that with the Teams app, but you can also integrate it with other third-party apps. So if instead of having it open on your computer screen, maybe you've only got one monitor, this will allow you to have it on there. And then again, within these, you've got the headband wearing choices. As for compatibility, by default, the minimum connectivity is for both soft phone and desk phone. So what you'll find with most other headset vendors is you go for either one or the other, so soft phone or desk phone. And then if you do want to go for dual connectivity option, you're ramping up the price already quite a bit. Yealink's models sit really competitively from that point of view. So you're getting the dual connectivity already on the lowest end one, just without that hefty price tag. So it'll be more at a similar price to if it was single. And then you can switch between the two nice and easily. So you can be connected to both your desk phone and your laptop and take calls from either without having to move any cables around or switching any connections. This is the new range of Bluetooth headsets that they are planning to bring out this year. So there will be two main models, the BH72 and BH76. Now, mostly the difference between the two is that the 76 is going to be slightly more robust and a bit higher quality, although both of them obviously pretty good quality as they are. Within both, you're going to have the choice to go for either black or grey, and then with or without a charging stand. So Yealink have done a really good job on the design, or I certainly feel anyway, in terms of making it suitable for consumer use as well as office use. So as you can already see by the style of the headset, and as we just saw on the stands, it's really nice design. It looks quite modern. You've got the nice round earpieces as well, but you've also got a retractable boom. So if we look at most standard office headsets in general, you've got a swivel boom. So if you do put it up, it's going to stick up in the air. I have seen some with built-in microphones, but for those you're looking at, sort of top of the range, highest end of the price book scale. I have seen recently some that do have a boom and it does swivel, but it can sit under the headband, so at least it's not sticking up in the air when you're not using it. But this is actually pretty next level and really cool. So you can just click it in and out and it will slide. So you can quite comfortably go from using it in your office and then take it with you on the train home, listen to your music, and you're good to go. The charging stand is multifunctional. So this is one that you can get with or without. So it will charge your headset. As you can see there, you pop the headset on its side on the headpiece so it can charge, but it's also, that charger is also suitable to support any mobile phones that do wireless mobile phone charging. So if you're using it like this, you can stick your mobile phone on that side piece and then just hang your headset up there on the hook. So it will allow you to keep your desk nice and tidy, not getting all messy with bits everywhere. The battery life is good as well. So on the mid-range option, you're looking at 28 hours talk time and 35 for the higher end one. So, a good 2 to 3 days, I would say, without charging it. Here we have pictured the grey one, but as I mentioned before, you can get that in black as well. And that's it for the product side for today. So hopefully that's been useful so far. We do have a promotion running at the moment with the wireless DECT headsets that I've just shown you. So I will tell you about that before we finish. So currently the offers we have are in the form of bundles, whereby you can buy bundles of certain models to get free headsets with the desk phones. So the first one is with the T43U. So that's from their new series that just arrived last year. So the T43U, you can purchase 5 of those and get a free UH36 earpiece headset. So that is the mid-range wired USB headset that also comes with a 3.5mm jack. And it's good quality, that one. And then the other bundle is to purchase 10 of the T54Ws, which is Yealink's most popular model at the moment, and certainly from the T5 range, and you can get a free WH62 dual earpiece headset. So that is the one from the wireless DECT range that can connect to both your desk phone and your soft phone. All of these available to order via our portal. So if you're using our portal, you can order it on there. If not, we can set you up with a login, or just speak to a member of our sales team for more information. There has been, this one has actually been running since December and was very popular until we did run out of stock of some of the headsets, but they are due to come in at the end of this month. So feel free to get your back orders in, because this one is running until the end of February. So that's everything for today. If you've got any questions, I'm going to hang around for a little bit. If not, or if you think of something later, you've got our main email address there that will reach myself and also the rest of the sales team. Or if you want to pick up the phone and give us a call, that's our telephone number. I and the team could be found via option 2. But I will hang about for now for any questions on what we've just discussed. So I've just had a question come through. When will the 73H be available? So that's the new handset. We do currently have them in stock as the bundle, but the handset itself is imminent. Stock is due to arrive, so hopefully later this month. I'm also being asked about the slides. So the slides that we've just gone through today, we will be sending a recording of the webinar to everybody that has attended. If you do want the slides, they won't come through as an attachment, but if you want to email that email address there, contact@bravey.co.uk, or if you've already got my personal email address, you can email me on there. We can add you to the list to send the slides to. Being asked about NFR units. So can we still get NFR units through ProView? So the answer is yes and yes. So we do 2 types of NFR at ProView. There's one where that's kind of run and supported by us. So if there is a new product that you want to take in-house for testing, we can give you a discount to get it as close to cost price as possible. But we do tend to also, with Yealink, offer NFR discounts on new products. So you'll often see when we launch a new product for a limited time, you can buy it at a very heavily discounted price. So on the ones that you've just seen, so the T4U and 70, all those bases, the NFR on that has expired, as it has on the headsets, but they will be launching NFR on the newest products, so the Bluetooth headsets when those come out, and the T58W. I'm being asked on when is the W60P going to be discontinued? So as I mentioned before, it is, whilst that bundle is being discontinued, it's actually just the base station itself that's going to go. So the handset is still going to be around. The base station, so the W60B as an individual item and as a bundle, is going to be announced as discontinued in around June, and then it's going to be quite some time before they then announce it as end of sale. So in terms of being able to buy it, I reckon you're probably looking at least another 6 months to a year. Another question popping through on the Bluetooth headset. Does it come as a single earpiece? So at the moment, the answer is no. So those models that I showed you there, that is all of them. So with or without the stand, and the mid to high range one, but they will be only as a dual earpiece. I don't know at this stage if they've got any plans to do single earpiece, but for now, this is how it's going to look. Right, I think that's it for the questions then. Thank you everyone for joining, and yeah, we'll see you on the next webinar.